What's up, YouTube? Today's just going to be a quick little basic video. Actually, we're actually going to be demonstrating how to make exports and how to switch these exports to actually just make them events or make them exports if you wanted to, right? So there's a few different things here, and I'll just do it in main power too, just to sort of make it a little easier. So you can already see these exports, right? And so basically, if you have a return value, this will need to be like local, right? So we have a lot of things where it would just be an export of getting it. So I could show you more client side. So how we have this export. So exports are just set up exactly like exports, and then what you call it. So these sort of have a limited name features. You can't really put colons or I believe dashes in them. I think it's just colons, actually. I think it's just colons, because when you call this, say you wanted to call this, right? It gets really messed up when you're trying to call a to symbol thing, because this is how it's set up. So it would be more like this and then something like this. It just wouldn't work. It would have an issue. So just basically how exports are set up is you're going to have an export. You're going to have the name of the export. Outside of it, you're going to have a function. And then inside the function, you could have anything, right? So it'll always end like this. And so we're just going to copy this real quick and just go into server. To just show you guys a little... Actually, we'll go into something completely different. Yeah, okay. So we sort of already did it here, but it's very simple. So we have a register event. So you're going to have client side and you're going to have server side exports. These things can only be used on your client side or server side of where you're trying to call it. So just keep that in mind. But for this one, say we have this admin save chords, and you can sort of see we already did it. So we're going to, if we wanted to change this to just to exports, so we could call it admin chord, and you can see in the function, we actually do call source. This isn't really necessarily used anymore. Where you don't need to call source because we're doing everything in here. So basically how we would transfer this is, I'll even zoom in a little more for you guys just to better understand this. So how we would transfer this to export is basically we would basically just write it like this, and all we would do is copy and paste. And it's very simple. We don't return anything. So whenever we call it, we would just do exports, basically exports, and then hold on. So we call exports where it is. So this is in MPX for an example. So it would actually just be MPX, and then we would call it the name of it. And then since we do pass source, it would be good just to call source. But then this would do the exact same thing. So say you already have an exports. How easy is it to transfer it to an event? So just like the one above, we would just basically register the net event. You call it basically the same thing. And then this one's a little different. You would have to add an event handler, and then you had admin chord. And then in this one, you will have the function of source and end, right? And just like that, you just basically can copy and paste, and then you basically have the same exact workings, right? So it's really that simple. If you do return a value, it's just easier to call a local something equals exports, and then the MP, and then the name, resource name. Right, because this would just be, if it returns something, then something equals something, right? Just make it that simple. These do work a little differently. So like I said, server side is going to have the same thing. No matter what, your exports is always going to be like this. No matter what, it's going to be like this with a function, and then this, and then we end, right? So say we wanted to remove the player. We want to remove player function. That's cool. We can do player ID and then reason, right? And then we just drop the player of the player ID and the reason. And how we would call this is we would just, once again, do the exports. I'm not going to do the quotes, but MPX, and then pull and remove player, and these two exact reasons. And just like that, it would call that. Obviously, this would have to be server-side, but that's about it. And I hope this helps you guys out a little bit. I know it's a short video. If you guys have any questions, this was actually a direct question in the support channel. So I could always just make you guys these videos to help you guys out a little bit more on understanding what you guys want to understand. But other than that, thanks for watching.